Hello traders! Welcome to the first ever Pat's scalping chart review video. I'm thrilled to have you here on this Friday evening, September 8th, 2023. Today's been a great trading day, and I can't wait to dig right in. But before we get started, let me introduce myself and explain why I'm doing this. I've been trading for over 4 years now. Started off trading options, moved to futures about a year ago, and now pretty much exclusively trade futures. I've joined Discord servers, watched countless videos, and read many books on trading. I've lost money, and I've now made money, and I've learned a lot. But I've also learned that there's no one right way to trade. Everyone has their own strategy, and what works for one person may not work for another. That being said, I've found that trading price action is the most profitable for me. I'm not here to sell you anything, these videos are free, and I'm not here to tell you that this is the best way to trade. I'm simply here to share my insights and knowledge with you and hopefully help you become a better trader. A quick reminder, I am not a financial advisor and day trading can be inherently risky. Always do your own research and consider your own risk tolerance. First things first, and most important, trading is a mental game. It demands patience, discipline, and believe it or not, it should be boring. If you find yourself getting an adrenaline rush, that kick when entering a trade, you're most likely gambling instead of trading. Until you can master your emotions, and it took me a while, you will never be as profitable as you could be. My strategy is simple. I buy low and I sell high. It works for ranges, trends, and everything in between. If we're below EMA, I'm looking to long. If we're above EMA, I look to short. If we're at the EMA, I trade with the trend. The market moves in twos, and if two solid legs both solidly fail, and I'll show you this later, there's a good chance the market will reverse. This is where I scalp. I wait for a good reversal signal, and I get in and I get out. The key is to be patient and wait for an obvious failure, and don't enter the market unless you are absolutely certain. I trade using NinjaTrader 8 and using a 2000 tick chart with only two indicators, the 21 and 200 EMA. I rarely trade around or using the 200 EMA. I just use it to kind of see where price will bounce off, and it does bounce off here and there, but I mainly trade using the 21 EMA, and again, that's to determine if I want to go long, if I want to go short, or if I want to stay with the trend. I trade 10 contracts at a time. 8 contracts have a 4-tick target scalp, and I leave 2 contracts in for runners. Once my scalp is made, I move my runner stops to break even plus 1. That way my fees are covered. Once in a trade, my stop is either 1 tick above or below the signal bar, or 8 ticks, whichever is smaller. This sounds weird and can sometimes leave your stop order in the middle of a large bar, but I've found if the market's going to reverse from your target entry point all the way back to 8 ticks and stop you out, it's most likely going to continue going 10, 12, 14 ticks, and it's better to get out of your failed trade early and prevent more losses. In the future, I'll be sharing more detailed insights into my strategy in dedicated videos, but for now, I'll explain as we walk through the charts. Now, let's jump right into the charts and review today's trades. So, first things first, I never trade pre-market. That's something that a lot of people do, but I just have never really had success with it, and I like the liquidity of the kind of primary hours of the market. Unless there's like a big event or something other that's moving the price, it works, but again, I just stay away from it. Um, I will trade as soon as the market opens, though, from 9:30 all the way until really the last few minutes. I don't really trade the last five. Sometimes I will if I'm like an obvious signal, but rarely just because it gets so choppy or either really volatile and it'll go one way or the other, or it'll kind of just pin. But I will take a trade like at 9:31 and again anything in between. During the lunch hours, it does get very slow, and I'll go take a lunch myself and whatnot. But again, the first couple hours and the last couple hours of the market is really where I love to trade because that's where the kind of movement comes from and a lot of liquidity happens, and it's my bread and butter. So we'll start off with this first trade. We're kind of in this range here, and you can kind of see as we go bar by bar where we already have this high up here, and as we have one rejection, two rejections, we basically got a double top here. I can kind of tell as soon as this meets this swing low to the tick basically and bounces right back up, this is most likely going to be a range. On top of this, when you see this bar, when you see this hammer, this is a solid bull leg, and price just stops right at the highs, right where the double top just was with this hammer bar, and that means sellers just came right in. And as soon as I see this tick higher and engulf right down, I take this trade. Again, the motto is sell high, buy low, and we're selling right at the top of this range. I go short here, plenty of room, and I'll preach this day in and day out. You're looking for enough room to get in and out. You don't ever want to take a trade bottom of range. One, again, that goes against the motto of buy low, sell high. You're literally selling low, but you're looking for room as well. This is a swing low right down here. There's a lot of longs with their stops down here. There's other longs that will enter as price moves down here. You're betting if you take this short right here that price is going to tick all the way through this swing low, and that's not really a good bet unless like it's solid momentum and maybe it's a failure or something. This is solid support, and there's not enough room to get out your 4 ticks. It's not worth scalping the 1 or 2 ticks. It's just over your risk over time you won't make it. But there's not enough room for the 4 ticks. I don't take this. I'll never take this. You always want to make sure there's room. Up here, we got plenty of room. This is a 7 tick bar, wrist bar, 6 tick bar, stop up here, under 8 ticks, top of the high here. Plenty of room for the 4 ticks. I took it, got my scalp. My runner got hit. Again, my runner goes break even +1. So if I entered here, my runner is basically right here. Get stopped out, boohoo, whatever. I still got my trade, got my 8 contracts, and then my fees covered for the other 2. Got my scalp. I'm happy. Here, this is one of the setups that a lot of people don't mention. I've kind of found success with, at least for the 4 tick scalp. Doesn't necessarily move much more than that a lot of times, but it definitely moves for the 4 ticks to get me in and out. This is what I call a engulfing failure, and the idea here is we're in a solid bear leg. We tick below to get the bears continuing to enter, but then it reverses and engulfs up here. You can see the high of the bar here. As soon as it ticks above here, longs say, hey, we're at EMA. This is an engulfing bullish bar. I'm going to take this. And they all enter here with their stops back down here. And what happens is this bar is going to reverse again. And that's where, I'm calling it a fail engulfing, because it ticks down, engulfs, and then reverses again to then fail all the way down to where the longs place their stops right through it. And as soon as I see that on a strong bear leg, a tick all the way up, all the way back down, engulfing failure in that same direction, I take that trade. Even though it's in the lows, I still have 4 ticks space, 5 ticks total. I can get in and out. Luckily, it just got me, in and out. But I've had great success with these setups. I take the failed engulfing all the time. Yeah, you get stopped out sometimes, but again, that's, the world ain't perfect. You're playing probability, and I've found a lot of success with these. Same thing up here, solid bull leg, top of range, price just stops. I took this, you've got the double top up here, low risk, 6 ticks, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, solid bear bar, price just stopped after the solid bull leg. We're above EMA, we're top of range, sell high, buy low, meets all of our expectations. I take it. I got my scalp. Runner got hit. Again, boo-hoo. I still made my money, and I'm in and out. Down here, didn't really play too much here. I had this trend line now drawn once this bar closed, but I didn't like this setup. If this was a solid bull bar, bottom of range, below EMA, I would have taken it. Especially with this kind of mini consolidation, you can kind of call this a mini range. But it was a bad bar. I didn't take it. Then I drew the trend line. And then I kind of had this. Would have been nice, but again, you're not looking for every setup. You're looking for the setups that meet your expectations. You want to be patient for them. And I'm waiting for the next opportunity. Trend line up here hits. Again, I don't take trend lines normally. I kind of take the failures, which I actually had success with in a later trade, which I can go through later. Um, but even this, second entry short, technical, you kind of got your first entry down here. Um, I don't like these. A lot of times they're somewhat traps, and that's where they typically reverse hard. Yeah, you're high above EMA, but I don't really take these. They work a lot of the times, just not my style. The trend lines aren't always guaranteed. Um, Continuing on, solid bull leg, solid rejection. Again, as we get up here, because we have the solid rejection, solid leg, I'm still looking to short. We're above EMA, especially we're top of trend line. I don't like trading trend lines, but then we see this overshoot. So let me go back to kind of bar by bar, where we have solid bull leg, solid rejection, solid bull leg, some consolidation here, which you can kind of see as a mini range. Then we get this overshoot with this solid bull bar. And I've been thinking short this whole time. We're above EMA. I'm looking to short. I'm just waiting for a good setup. We get a solid bull bar, and then bam, hammer. Overshoot, meaning we're most likely about to kind of hit a neutral stream and immediately reject. And this hammer bar combined with this engulfing bearish bar, that's where I took it right here. Plenty of room down to the lows. We're in overshoot, so it's a good chance to reverse. This solid bull bar just gets stopped right away. No more momentum. Immediately reverses. I take this on the engulfing. I take it all day, and it got me. I think I got out at EMA as far as my runner goes. So I think that's what 5 points or whatever it was. Solid, solid, solid trade. Down here, same thing. We're at EMA, so when we're at EMA, I always trade with trend. We're in a bearish trend. We have a solid bull leg, solid rejection. Doji, but then a solid bar here where it kind of gets those longs now in. Oh, at EMA, I'm going to get it, on this reversal. But then you get this low risk at EMA, 4-tick scalp, plenty of room to the lows. Again, you got your 5 ticks to the double bottom here, but I'm only looking for 4. So I'm going to take this. We're at EMA. I'm with trend. We've got one solid leg that had a solid rejection. I'm not looking for legs with bad rejections. Like let's just find one. I know there's one later, but something like here where solid bare leg, and then we kind of have a bunch of dojis. I don't really like that. I like it when you have kind of obvious visual legs where this is an obvious buyers entered. They immediately got stopped by a bunch of sellers. Sellers took it right back down. You got this doji, but then again, you got this kind of almost too good to be true at EMA. This long looks perfectly set up. We've got this long kind of bias up here, but I'm looking at the short-term trend. Again, I'm only looking for four ticks. I'm not looking to get swings or anything large. I'm looking for the short-term trend, and this immediate rejection with a small risk, I took it. I wouldn't say plenty, but enough room to get in and out, and it worked. This one I actually got a somewhat decent runner on. I think I trailed it right here, so I think 2 points. But again, all dojis here, kind of stayed out. Didn't do much here. You can see, like, I don't like stuff like this. I like strong bars, meaning there's a lot of sellers, a lot of buyers, strong momentum. Right here is exactly what I was talking about with the trends. What happens is, this is kind of my mindset. I like to go and enter when the too good to be true setups fail, because that gets a lot of people in the market with their orders, with their stop set, and then whether it's the market makers or whoever it is, reverses it, hits those stops, and boom, prices go the opposite direction. I'm looking for that. And that's where I don't really trade trend lines, because everyone draws those. They're not always accurate. You don't know if it's going to go 1 or 2 ticks above it, below it, whatever. I wait for those failures. And that's where I didn't trade the second entry short up here. I traded this reverse. So if you think about it, you've got a solid bull move here. solid rejection, and you've got a lot of bears saying, I'm in a downtrend, I'm below EMA, I've got plenty of room here, I'm at trend line, and it ticked down, 4 ticks, and probably some people made some profit. But it reversed right back up because you got the double top here. There's a lot of sellers again selling themselves. Oh, I got my double top. This is a strong rejection. I'm at trend line, below EMA, blah blah blah. I don't listen to all that crap. Again, I'm waiting for this to happen. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, oh, does it work in my favor? And that's where solid rejection ticks right through all these stops that would be up here as soon as all the bears enter here. I enter long right here, and boom, I got my runner. I think it was 8 points up here. Um, Solid trade. I take those all the time. It doesn't always happen, like I said, and that's part of the strategy is be patient, wait for those setups. They're going to happen during the day. You just got to be patient. Don't force a trade. If you feel like you have to get in the market, trade it in another account, use a sim account, whatever needs to happen, sit on your hands, but you want to wait for stuff like this, and that's where it works. So right here, kind of in a range. Again, I like trading solid legs and solid failures. We've got a solid bull leg here, solid bear rejection. So again, kind of highs up here, lows down here. Um, Solid rejection. Tick up, and again, I like to look at the other side all the time. So we've got a bunch of support down here. We've got this bar right here that, first of all, I don't like trading hammers. I've seen so many times where this ticks one tick down, or it gets all the bears in or the bulls in, whatever the hammer's facing, goes all the way back up, stops everyone out. So I don't really trade these. I like, again, beefy bars like this one, and that's exactly what I took. I'm sure some people took this, and if they put their stop up here, they eventually would have got it. But again, I'm looking for momentum, and those are beefy bars. So you've got a solid bear like here, some consolidation, and then this is kind of a mini range, and that's kind of what I was pointing out, where you've got your support all the way down here, and then you've got your longs who see this single leg and see this solid bull bar after this, what they think is now going to be a bear trap. And it takes one tick higher, gets all the longs right in, and boom. I take this solid rejection of all those longs that just got in right at where they would put their stops, and I play that trap. And I got my 4 ticks, plenty of room. Again, I'm not taking trades all the way down here where to get my 4 ticks, it's going to have to go through 1, 2 swing lows. No, that's just not going to work. It might work 1 out of 10 times just to keep you interested, but long run, you're going to blow up your account. So right here, plenty of room, solid bear bar. I'm going to take that right through EMA, pierced right through it. Mini range, you can kind of call that almost range entered bearish. You've got your kind of highs up here, your lows up here. First rejection, second rejection, boom, took it. I don't trade this crap. Again, I'll trade ranges. I traded over here. I traded this mini range, but I only trade good setups, and there was nothing good in here. You could argue maybe that's a good bar. I would argue completely against that. Why would you go short? I get you're technically from the range point of view selling high, but it's a terrible bar. You're going short on a bull body, and you don't know that's a range at that point. You've got this just super, super bear bar, and yeah, you can argue maybe the long got trapped, but you don't know it's a range. You don't know what's going to happen. It could fly all the way up here because maybe this was a failed breakout. You don't know. You want to be patient. You want to wait for your good setups. Nothing to take here. And again, this whole range, if there was a solid, maybe hammer, sometimes I'll take a hammer on top of range if it's a solid, rejection. Normally I even don't. Like, I'll wait for like a lower high then, or just sit out. But like if there was a solid up rejection, obvious range, plenty of room down, yeah, I would take it. But like even this one, yeah, okay, you've got your double top that slams all the way down, solid rejection too after this bull leg. But look at, you've got all this support down here, and to get your 4 ticks, you have to again go through this double bottom and this whole support, and this, yeah, worked, but you're gonna risk all that just for a maybe? No, you can see it just flew right back up. So I don't take that. None of these are good bars. If this was like a solid double top that ended up here and like a 4 or 5 6 tick risk, then yeah, I'd maybe take that if it was a solid body and double top and all that, top of range. But all the way down here at these lows, no. I took this. Again, I'm looking for solid rejections, and this is a good example of like this doji crap here, where yeah, you've got the solid bear leg, solid bull, solid rejection. I mean, this is a doji, but it's still a hard rejection under EMA, especially after this trend, which entered bearish. So like this trend, I'm playing this maybe failed breakout. Again, I didn't trade anything here. This you could argue is maybe a good second entry short, but again, I don't like trading hammers. And again, with this leg, my strategy is I'm looking for a hard failure after a strong move, meaning there's sellers who just entered to stop all those strong buyers, or vice versa. Like this one, strong bull leg, somewhat decent rejection, but then this bull leg here, this is a doji, and yeah, it's a strong rejection because you got your hammer here, and yeah, price did go down, but I don't like that leg. So that's where I saw this strong leg. You got the strong bull bar, bam, price stopped. You got your under EMA. I took it. I did, I had to hold it for this bar. I don't like these T bars, whatever you want to call them. I was thinking about going break even when this bar closed, but as soon as it did, it slammed right down. I got my scalp. But typically, like if there's a signal bar like this, if I'm in a trade and I see a closed bar like this, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's a hard doji. I don't like it. I'll try to get out, or I just won't enter if it's a signal bar. This year, I drew this large range like at the beginning of the session. We've got our high up here, we've got our lows down here. I was thinking it was maybe a larger trend day rather than these kind of mini trends, mini trades, or mini ranges. Didn't work out that way, but you can see the midline of that larger range. That's where I kind of had the bigger picture. If you think of ignore this, ignore all the trend lines, you've got your top up here, you've got your bottom at this mid-range line. This is a failed breakout. And that's where we've got this kind of triple test here, another higher low here, and then we've got a pretty strong rejection. If you look at the kind of candles here, we've got a strong bull leg, strong rejection because you got your hammer here. You get your sellers thinking it's a breakout pullback. They want it. Some people made their money, but then you got your double bottom here. That okay, buyers just stepped in and they're holding the line here, and so it went up, and you can see it went all the way up back into the range here, and then slammed all the way back down, and stopped out everyone who put their stops under this double bottom. If this continued down, I would have sat in my hands. I wouldn't have done anything, but because it ticked through this, stopped all those folks out, but then slammed right back up. And again, I'm looking at this range from here to here, and maybe I draw it better just to highlight a little bit more. So you can see a little bit better. This slammed all the way back up, and so I'm going long here. We're above EMA, we're with trend. All the bears that went here, and as well as the double trap here that just stopped out of the longs, if this pushes all the way back up, there's obviously buyers here. I want to join with momentum. There's plenty of room for my scalp. I'm looking for 4 ticks. The swing highs are 5 ticks. Again, I've got not plenty of room, but I've got my 5 ticks to get in and out. That's all I'm looking for. In this case, I actually got a decent runner, but I got my 4 ticks as well. So end of day, again, this is 54 after. If this is any later, it probably wouldn't have taken it. I don't really trade the last 5 minutes. As I mentioned earlier, price either boom goes up one direction or the other, or it pins and just you get straight consolidation the last couple minutes. I don't like trading that. It's you always get stopped out, and just not for me. So again, I'm waiting for the good setups. I'm waiting for the strong failures, and I've had great success for it. So thanks for tuning in today. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I wish you all fellow traders out there the best of luck. Stay focused, be patient, and may the markets be ever in your favor.